Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the deck profile called The Rechargeables. What's up, my fellow legendaries? This is Ringquaza here, and this is the Watt deck that has been my pride and joy for the last few weeks on Dueling Network. I built this deck because I was like, I hate the current I didn't play a lot this format just because I didn't like the meta. But now that Dragon Rollers are getting hit, I decided it's time to start building stuff for the next format. So, this is what. So first we've got Double Battle Fader, Gores, and Double Necro Gardener. They're the either hand traps or the grave traps, quote unquote, to keep me alive, to stop attacks, prevent OTKs, stall for time until I get my stuff off. Then we've got probably the key part of the deck. We've got triple Shining Angel and triple Watt Dragonfly. Triple Shining Angel gets you any light in the deck. Triple Watt Dragonfly gets you any Watt in the deck. So basically, those two cards get you anything except Watt Dragonfly can't get you another Shining Angel. Then we've got Watt Cobra, which if it does battle damage, you get a Watt from your deck to your hand, so it's basically a Rhoda. So right there we have a 9-card search engine, which is really, really good. I don't know a single other deck that has a 9-card search engine, unless you're like running some really derpy Constellars with Tanky, and you're running X-Sabers in it and have reinforcement of the army or something. Next, we've got the WattFox. WattFox is basically there as a tuner, and it can prevent your opponent from using card effects and summoning monsters for the rest of the turn. So if they attack you, they can't overlay and stuff. Honestly, you can cut one of these for Honest. That's probably a good decision, but I personally don't feel like the deck needs Honest, but I know I'm going to get a lot of crap for that. So go ahead and just cut a WattFox for an Honest if you want. I personally just like him for for preventing my opponent from using other cards after he dies. Next we've got Triple Watt Draft, which I don't know why it's super expensive. Basically, it's another card that can attack your opponent directly, like Watt Cobra, except this one prevents your opponent from using Spell Trap or Monster card effects after he does damage till end phase. That means it doesn't prevent end phase MST, and if your opponent mirror forces his attack or your prisons, then it still works, but it's basically there to force your opponent to burn their trap cards on Watt Draft instead of on your Watt Cobra, which is recruiting for other stuff. Next, we've got probably the best part of the deck, the Watt Hopper Lock, which your opponent cannot select another face-up Watt monster on the field as an attack target or target them with card effects. So, if you get 2 of these on board, any of your Watts cannot be targeted for an attack or targeted for card effects, which is really, really good. It basically turns all your Watts into Spirit Reapers that can't be attacked, and you've got so much attacking directly, your opponent's basically in a frenzy to get something their Dark Hole or Black Rose to nuke the field and deal with this. And then we've got double Watt Lemur. Watt Lemur is there because if your opponent attacks over it, they can't do their battle phase the next turn. So some things I'll do is if I have a Watt Cobra in hand, sometimes I'll go Watt Dragonfly into Watt Dragonfly. They kill the second Watt Dragonfly, go into Watt Lemur, and they kill Watt Lemur. I summon Watt Cobra or something, and Watt Cobra grabs me Watt Hopper to hand, and then I have like back row protection, like Threatening Roar and stuff. Then I like normal summon Watt Hopper, get more stuff. Basically you want Watt if you have a Watt Hopper in hand and a Watt Dragonfly, and it's your opponent's last attack, you grab a Watt Hopper in defense mode, and then you normal summon your Watt Hopper, and then you just don't conduct your battle phase that turn, just in case they have Mirror Force and hit one of your Watt Hoppers, which can be scary. So you basically wait until you get both your Watt Hoppers into defense mode, and then you're basically protected. And you've got 2 Forbidden Lands, 2 Starlight Road, an extra Starlight Road in the side deck, and you've got Watt Cancel to stop certain monsters. So you've got a lot of lockdown stuff. Again, Forbidden Lands, it's good for keeping your for lancing your opponent's monster, so your Watt kills them and you can attack directly next turn and get your special effect off, usually used with Watt Cobra. Triple Messenger of Peace, it's really broken. Every single monster in the deck, aside from Gores, can still attack under Messenger of Peace. And you're only paying 100 life points per turn. So technically you can deck your opponent out if they don't have stuff to destroy this. And with Heavy Stormband, you basically only have to worry about Mystical Space Typhoon. And with 3 Messenger of Peace, 2 Fairy Boxes, 2 Starlight Roads, 2 Threatening Roars, and your Watt Cancel, which is basically Solemn Warning. You've got stuff covered. Next, we've got Double Duality, because the deck can get bad draws, and most of the time, you're not going to be special summoning first turn. You're either going to be setting a Shining Angel, setting a Watt Dragonfly, or you're going to be summoning Watt Cobra, poking for damage, and getting a card to your hand. Just early game, like mid to late game, it's not the best card ever, which is why I'm running 2 instead of 3. And it's good for getting your extra Watt Hopper if you're like, I need that Watt Hopper in my hand really, really badly. Next, we've got Double Recycling Batteries. This card is not the best to draw at the beginning of the game, but it's really good because it's basically salvage. That's literally what it is. It's a salvage for all your Thunder monsters, which, if you look at the deck, everything from Watt Cobra on is a Thunder monster. So you've got basically a huge amount, which is the exact count is 16 Watt monsters, which you can get back to your hand. So I'm running Double Recycling Batteries. You don't have to. You could run there's another card that's not Recycling Batteries. It's just Short Circuit, which is only for Battery Man. I think the other one's also for Battery Man. I think this is the only one, aside from Beckoning Light, which causes you to discard cards, and I don't like discarding, because you're getting your Watt Cobra adding stuff to the hand, and usually they're good cards. A thing this deck could really use is if Pot of Avarice for some reason comes back, you basically recycle your Dragonflies and your Shining Angels and do everything over again until you get stuff going. Fairy Box, probably one of my favorite cards of all time. What happened to what? How come there's only one of them here? What? And you, take it away? Okay, what Fairy Box does is you activate it, your opponent declares an attack, you toss a coin, which I'm pretty good at calling coin tosses. And if you call it right, your opponent's monster has 0 attack, and until the end of the battle phase. And then you don't even have to pay your 500, you can just say, I don't want it anymore. I basically use it like Threatening Roar, except there's this one time, which is probably one of my favorite duels with this deck, when I was playing Evil Horns. Now, I was doing really well, but then they kept locking me down, and he got really good draws, and I wasn't drawing anything good. I had Fairy Box and a Shining Angel in attack mode, so it was my opponent, potentially last turn of the game. I activate Fairy Box, he attacks with his Dark Arm Dragon, and 2 other things. He attacked with Dark Arm Dragon and 2 other things. And I don't think it was Dark Arm Dragon because he would have just popped this. But I activated Fairy Box. And I called 3 coin tosses right. My opponent took 30. He took all the damage from Shining Angel, which was 4,200, and he had 4,100 remaining. So I basically ended the duel with a 4,100 attack Shining Angel that could attack 3 times, potentially. It's a really derpy card. You don't have to use it. One of the best things I like is you can activate this, call it the coin toss. If you call it wrong, you would still use Lance, or you can't use T-Roar. You can still use your Forbidden Lance. Next we have Starlight Road, because it helps with Watt Hopper. This plus Watt Hopper is basically no way to break Watt Lock. The only thing that can really get past is if they're running triple Black Rose Dragon, they're running triple JD. Basically, if it's Light Sworns and they're running the new stuff, it's trouble dealing with it, because they can consistently nuke. I've had good games just because Watt Dragonfly recruits even when it's destroyed by card effect. You can run 3. I have my little side deck that's really not a side deck. It's an extra Starlight Road and then Curse Seal, the Forbidden Spell, to prevent your opponent from using their, like, the stuff. Basically, it's for Lightsworn so they can't get their stuff going. And then lastly, we've got the Double Threatening Roar. It's the same as Battle Fader, Gores, and Necro Gardener, just quick stop attacks. Get your stuff set up. And lastly, we've got Watt Cancel, which is basically it's Solemn Warning. If your opponent would normally or special summon a monster, you discard a Watt monster, negate the summon, and destroy it. It's great because you negate the summon. So if you negate the summon of Lightsworn Michael, he doesn't get his effect to shuffle everything back in, and you can potentially deck them out if they can't get another one on board. It's like super late game. And that's the main deck. For extra deck, it's basically whatever you want. You don't actually have to run Synchros in the deck. You could honestly cut the WattFoxes if you wanted to. And I just run Ally of Justice Cataster, Ancient Sacred Wyvern because you can make it because you need a light tuner and non-tuners, and that gives potentials for OTKs. When your life points are higher than your opponent's, it gains attack equal to the difference, and if it's lower your opponent's, it loses attack. If it's destroyed by battle and sent to the grave, you can pay 1,000 life points to special summon it again. So it can really help if you're in a pickle. Basically, the only thing you really need in the extra deck is double Stardust Dragon for your 2 Starlight Road. You can make Balmong with any of the level 2s plus a WattFox, which is really good. I keep thinking of what does the fox say every time I say WattFox, because it's like, what does the fox say? Okay, I'll stop now. And we've got Starleech Polydynamo, which I recommend for the deck if you have one. What it does is you detach 2 Xyz materials, target the face of monster opponent controls, attack becomes 0, its effects are negated. It permanently goes to 0, and its effects are negated, and when this guy is destroyed and sent in the grave, by battle or by card effect, you get to draw a card. Now, it's really good because his effect can't be negated by frickin', what's that guy's name? Blah. Dracosack. It can't be stopped by Dracosack, and you just poke over Dracosack, and when this guy actually does die, you get to draw a card. It's really good. You can run more than one if you want. The way you make it is using your Shining Angels, your Watt Cobras that you got off of Watt Dragonfly or whatever, or your Watt Drafts. It's there if your opponent has Dracosack, and they're trying to blow up all your good stuff. Now, that's it for this deck profile. Let me know if you want duels with it. Okay, how about if this deck profile gets 5 likes, I will do a best 2 out of 3 duel with it. Or 2 duels, or 2 or 3 duels. Peace, YouTube.